I started seeing the stark realities of a childcare institution. And in a lot of ways, it made me mad. And I wouldn't say just me, but me and my friends. And that's where the organization name kind of came from, which is that because what we started noticing is that even though we are taking the most vulnerable children and putting them in a childcare institution, we are treating them like second-class citizens. In some way, the objective is not so that they are able to get the best quality support, so they're able to progress further, but to somehow keep them alive till the age of 18.
Make a Difference works with 3,500 children at risk across 23 cities in India and provides them with education, provide them with counseling and life support, all aimed at pulling them out of poverty in a single generation. This was founded by Jithin Nedumala, and I just love his passion, his commitment. And I asked him where it comes from, and he says that from his own experience at age 19, landing up in a homeless shelter. And so he was determined, having got out of poverty himself, that he should be able to help others. MAD has a core team of just 34 people, managing 3,500 volunteers who support these children for life. What I loved again is the cost efficiency. Costs just 35,000 per child per year. And that seems like a pittance to give a young person a chance in life.
Jithin, hi. Thank you for joining me on From Spare Change to Real Change. These are a series of conversations we hope will inspire more people to start on their journey to philanthropy. So thank you so much. I want to start by asking you, Jithin, about the birth of Make a Difference.
Thank you, Sandhya. I'm actually looking forward to our conversation today. Birth of Make a Difference is not something that was planned. It was an unplanned birth. It's the best way probably for me to say it. I think when I was in school, I wanted to kind of do my MBA, go to an IIM. That is really the dream that I was working with, and I started making money very early in my life. I think by 16, 17, I started doing odd jobs and had my own little entrepreneurial ventures. When I was 19, I experienced the biggest tragedy of my life, and I lost somebody who was very close to me. And it's a time like this that I accidentally stumbled into a childcare institution. And spending some time with the children was like a life-changing experience. I think that's the best way to put it. I ended up spending more and more time in the childcare institution and building like a deeper connect with the children. And once that connection kind of started happening, I started seeing the stark realities of a childcare institution. And in a lot of ways, it made me mad. And I wouldn't say just me, but me and my friends. And that's where the organization name kind of came from, which is that because what we started noticing is that even though we are taking the most vulnerable children and putting them in a childcare institution, we are treating them like second-class citizens. In some way, the objective is not so that they are able to get the best quality support, so they're able to progress further, but to somehow keep them alive till the age of 18, so that after that, they are kind of put out on their own, which means that they're being trained to become the drivers and the plumbers of our time, than really trained to be the best that they potentially could be. So I think that's really the primary reason why I thought we should start something like Make a Difference, because we realize that the society should be judged by the way it treats its most vulnerable, and we are currently not doing a good job with regards to that.
Jithin, I saw on your website that around 35 million children in India need support and help of some sort. What do you focus on most in terms of support?
There are multiple reasons why a child ends up in a childcare institution, and the specific demography we work with is called children in need of care and protection. This could be because the father is an alcoholic and there is domestic abuse at the house, or mother is going through a mental breakdown, or there's a financial crisis in the family, or a medical crisis. There are a huge set of reasons. But at the end of the day, the common core driver to all of this is poverty. These are children who are experiencing extreme poverty, and it's because of that that they end up in a childcare institution. Which means if we need to solve this problem, we need to solve the root cause of it, which is poverty itself. So we designed all our programs keeping in mind what is it that we need to provide to ensure that children who are in this kind of background are able to break the cycle of poverty. And one of the first data points that we realized when we were trying to do this was that breaking out of poverty is not measured in number of years, but number of generations. In India, it takes 7 generations. Wild, right? Just to imagine. And that's why it's called the cyclical nature of poverty. Over the last 16 years, what we've really focused on is what is the support that a young person needs to ensure that they're able to break the cycle of poverty in a single generation itself. And based on this, finally, what we were able to figure out was that there are 5 trajectory points in a young person's life that if they progress through, they will break the cycle of poverty. But if they do not progress at any stage, then they will fall back into the cycle of poverty. And these 5 trajectory points is one is finishing their 8th standard education, next is finishing their 10th standard education, 12th standard education, finishing college, and getting into a formal sector job and progressing in the formal sector job. Once you get into a formal sector job and they're progressing in a formal sector job, you will be able to earn at least 25,000 rupees on a monthly basis by the time you're 28, which means you're in the top 10% of the income earners in the whole country. So how do you take the bottom 10% and transition them into the top 10% in a single generation is really the core work that we are doing. And we do this, the solution that we were able to find out on how exactly this could be done is it's actually quite straightforward. If you're able to provide 1:1 deep support to a child during this period, you're able to do the same. But the amount of resources that exist in the government and in the country doesn't enable government employee providing 1:1 support. So what we do is we mobilize volunteers from the community who will be able to provide a 1:1 support system for them from the age of 10 till the age of 28. And we identify what is the minimum support that they require at each of those stages. So there is specialization that the volunteer provides at each of these stages by providing weekly support for the child. That's basically what we do as an organization. And just one more thing is that it's not enough to just provide support, but you also need to provide financial support. So our volunteers also raise the necessary finances that is required. For example, not more than 15% of the children from this demography will ever go to college. We're able to ensure 90% of our children will go to college. And the way one big reason is because we also support them with their college fees.
And what has been your impact in the short term that we can talk about? I understand these are long cycles, but given that you said the change you're trying to effect is this upward mobility in one generation, can you talk a little bit about that impact that you all have been able to make?
Matt is now 17 years old. So we have finished one cycle with our first set of youth that I started working with. I started working with around 12 youth. Almost all of them are married. Most of them have children. 2 of them have already become homeowners themselves. And another 7 people are going to become homeowners in the next 2 years. Now, this is not a small thing. These are children born into intergenerational poverty. And the moment you become a homeowner, you started having the first sense of what intergenerational wealth is. So from an impact point of view, I guess the biggest impact is that our children, 90% of children who come through our program will break the cycle of poverty. And now we have data over the last 2 to 3 years that this is happening consistently.
Thank you for that, Jithin. More power to you and all of the volunteers. And I hope this conversation will get more and more people to join you to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.